All right, are you ready?
Yeah.
Welcome to Bonn Park. I'm Sara Geidlinger.
And I'm Marshall Ward.
And today we have Nick Bordman.
He's a wonderfully talented local singer-songwriter. And boy, this guy has country in his soul.
Nick said something interesting where he sort of fell into country music. Some friends started to tell him there's really something to his voice. And I remember hearing that about Adele. Adele having someone say to her, you know what, you kind of got something there. That's the kind of presence that Nick has. He really owns this sound.
Yeah, he sure does. And we get to hear some amazing live music from him tonight.
With his special guest, Johnny Lantine.
Yeah, let's kick it off with some music.
Welcome to Bonn Park.
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 Do you enjoy Bonn Park podcast?
If so, we would really appreciate it if you
Leave a review.
like, rate, subscribe, but most importantly,
Share directly from the platforms.
with your family and friends. That's the best way to get the word out to everybody, and more people will get to see our show that way. So click those like buttons and share our show. Thank you.
Thanks.
On with the show. This is it. Bonn Park is supported by Waterloo Brewing. Since they first opened their doors in 1984, Waterloo Brewing has invited thirsty beer lovers to pour the boar. A symbol of strength and courage, the boar is a fitting symbol for Waterloo Brewing. The company is not only Ontario's first craft brewer, in operation decades before the current microbrew trend, but it is also the largest. To pour the boar is to taste an Ontario brewing tradition that is always evolving. The core recipes on which they built their success remain the same, using only fresh and simple ingredients. Waterloo Brewing's balanced quality beers like their traditional IPA, dark amber, and craft lager were created to be enjoyed year-round. Perfect for sweltering summers, their crisp and refreshing fruit radlers have been wildly popular. These drinks blend craft lager with real fruit juice to create sweet and punchy flavors like watermelon, tart cherry, raspberry pineapple, and Waterloo Brewing's award-winning grapefruit. Waterloo Brewing's beer store is located at 400 Binghamton Center Drive in Kitchener, or visit them online for free local board-to-door home delivery at waterloobrewing.com. Whether you've been pouring the boar since 1984, or you've never poured the boar before, Waterloo Brewing has your perfect pour in store. Bonn Park is supported by A Taste of Greece. Located in the Peddlers Village at the St. Jacob's Farmers Market, A Taste of Greece serves up delicious and traditional Mediterranean cuisine. Gyros, chicken and pork souvlaki, Greek salad, spanakopita, baklava, all prepared in-house from scratch with recipes passed down from generations. We especially recommend their simple, delicious veggie pita packed with fresh, locally sourced ingredients and authentic tzatziki. With 25 years at the market, A Taste of Greece has a loyal clientele of regulars and newcomers who quickly become repeat customers. Treat your taste buds to A Taste of Greece at the St. Jacob's Farmers Market, open Thursdays and Saturdays all year and Tuesdays in the summer. We think you'll say, Opa. We are supported by Good Boys Duct Cleaning. Are you moving? Renovating? Do you have a new baby on the way or perhaps guests? Are you sneezing more than usual? Call the Good Boys. Locally owned and operated, they do residential duct cleaning as well as commercial and industrial, and they do it well. And get this, they never solicit by phone. That's not Good Boys calling you during dinner. Their cleaning technology rids your ducts of dirt and dust, allowing you and your family to breathe easy.
We hired Good Boys to clean the ducts of my family's home, and we all feel like the air is cleaner. Professional, friendly, affordable, and they answered all our questions. I would recommend them to anybody.
Check them out at goodboysservices.ca or call 519-893-0046 today to get your fresh start. Bonn Park is supported by North Country Condiments. Made right here in Waterloo region by two award-winning chefs, North Country Condiments strives to unite their culinary expertise with your inspired creations. North Country Condiments believe the best ingredients make the best food, which is why they use only the freshest ingredients to create the most flavorful sauces possible. Lovers of all things spicy will delight as North Country's fresh, mouth-watering concoctions are made in small batches bursting with flavor, like their signature slow-burn hot sauce with just enough heat to make you sweat, while packing a punch to any dish. Just in time for grilling season, their sweet spice barbecue sauce will satisfy all your barbecuing needs, while their versatile and tangy smoked apple mustard is the perfect sauce for your charcuterie board or cheese plate. Make something tasty this summer with North Country's authentic handcrafted condiments. Your taste buds will thank you. Visit northcountrycondiments.com and use promo code BONN to get 10% off your next order. That's BONN at northcountrycondiments.com. And also don't forget to subscribe to their mailing list to stay up to date on all their special offers.
Yeah, thanks for doing that. It's such a like a grassroots streaming live concert. It's a bit of like I don't know if you know the show Hee Haw, but it's kind of like an old show called Hee Haw.
They're way too young for that.
Yeah.
You do know Hee Haw? Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah. The Hee Haw reruns and everything. We love it.
Okay. Those were reruns when we were kids, I think. So.
Yeah. Okay, Nick. So each time you play a song, we're going to ask you to introduce the song, and then go ahead and play it, and we're just going to sit here and listen for your audience.
Sure. We could do Tread Lightly first.
Sure.
So this is my first song, my first debut single called Tread Lightly, and I wrote the song myself.
Love that I'm craving is what I need most, and this whole thing is killing me. God only knows a carnal desire can be an awful thing, especially when you internalize such an old thing. Tread lightly on my heart, please don't tear me all apart. I don't know if anyone could ever take her part. Go slowly with me, 'cause I can't guarantee I can be the man you want me to be. But I'm warning, tread lightly. You really want me to love you, that I do know, but my heart is broken from a love long ago. I'll try my best to hold you when the night is through. That is not a concept new to me or you. Tread lightly on my heart, please don't tear me all apart. I don't know if anyone could ever take her part. Go slowly with me, 'cause I can't guarantee I can be the man you want me to be. But I'm warning, tread lightly. Tread lightly on my heart, please don't tear me all apart. I don't know if anyone could ever take her part. Go slowly with me, 'cause I can't guarantee I can be the man you want me to be. But I'm warning, but I'm warning, but I'm warning, tread lightly.
What a song that is. Nick Bordman, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you both for having me.
We just listened to this beautiful song, Tread Lightly. That's your song. Yes?
Yeah, that was my debut single, my first song.
Now, I'm supposed to ask how you and Marshall met. Did you want us to go there first?
Yeah.
That's our thing.
So it was, I think it was a couple of years ago now, and I had written about a busker at the St. Jacobs Farmers Market who was playing country music. And I guess Nick had read it, and then he emailed me and said, "Hey, I'm also a country singer. If you'd like to write something." I recorded my first single, and I said, "Sure," and he sent it to me. And the first time I heard Tread Lightly, all I could muster was an awestruck wow. Like, I was speechless. I had goosebumps the entire time. That I couldn't believe that incredible nasal honky tonk Dwight Yoakam like sound was coming out of this guy who I don't think was even 20 years old yet. And I was just blown away by that sound coming out of your voice. And on top of it, it was an original song. And wow, Nick, tell us about Tread Lightly and writing that song.
So tread lightly. I really like, if I really go into it, I don't have an extensive background in music. I have family members that are into music and lots of friends that play in bands locally or have pursued music in school. So I had all these influences around me, and I was always a big country music fan. And I think it was in high school after a breakup, like a first love kind of situation. I thought I would take those feelings and emote them onto paper, and that's kind of how Tread Lightly was born. And I wrote that one in like, it was a pretty quick write, about 15 minutes, and then I went to a friend of mine, and he's a local producer and musician as well, Matt Cable, and he kind of helped me fine tune it and really make it what it became.
What I love about this song, there's a lyric in there that says, "I don't know if I can be the man you want me to be. Tread lightly." And I mean, you're a young man, and you were a boy when you wrote this song, really a boy. And those are some very insightful words. Just to have the self-awareness that's kind of the essence of, I can see what you're looking for here, and I might not be ready for it yet. I need you to just be gentle with me. And there's not a lot of teenage boys that are ready to express that feeling. Do you have any like literary influences, or was this just like how you were feeling in the time, or mostly from music?
I would say I draw most of my inspiration from music.
Yeah.
A lot of the music came from before I ever existed, 80s, the 70s, 60s, and even past that. Some of my biggest influences, I would say, would be Hank Williams Sr., Johnny Cash, Waylon Jennings, George Jones, and especially Hank Williams Jr. That's really kind of how I fell in love with country music. And just kind of the way they convey these emotions and these topics and all these different things that I don't find or I personally don't really connect with in other music, I was finding in these songs. And there's a great quote out there that's a good country music song feels like it's been ripped right out, or it's been ripped right out of your life, or it's telling something from your life. And I really related to that. And I just kind of try to push that in my own kind of music.
Yeah, a lot of country music is about loss and longing and not measuring up very often, not measuring up, or, talking about the situations or the people that might have gotten away. And I think that's a beautiful influence. I really do. Maybe that's where some of that vulnerability comes from too, where in those country songs, like, I don't know, I'm thinking of Patsy Cline right now too. And you mentioned George Jones. Like, one of my favorites is "He Stopped Loving Her Today." Oh, that's just a heart wrencher right there. That one kicks me in the gut. Song. Such a beautiful song. I think I told Marshall this. I saw George Jones at Lulu's when it was still open. Like,
I remember when he played Lulu's. Yeah.
How long ago would that be?
Maybe 25 years ago.
Yeah. So that's, going back quite a way, but that would have been one of his last runs. But there's something beautiful about that too. And then also, like, I've been thinking recently about Dolly Parton, because she's in the news so much. Didn't she like fund one of the vaccines, basically some research behind it? Yeah. And I mean, she's a storytelling guru right from the beginning. Her stories have always been very vulnerable and honest. And maybe it's that sort of influence of like, it's natural. It's ingrained because you're listening to this music about loss and wanting.
Yeah, like definitely. Especially with somebody like such a big name like Hank Williams Sr. Back in the day, nobody was writing songs about the things any of the topics he was touching, heartbreak, and maybe life's not always that sunny. And at the time, they always said Hank had the world in the palm of his hand. And if you watch the old videos of him performing and just listen to those recordings, especially on vinyl, that's kind of my favorite. But you can just hear that sorrow coming through his voice. And I think that's something that's it's pretty rare in people in general, and especially rare in music.
So Nick, when did you first open your mouth and realize you can make that sound? Like, you've got country music in your soul. Like, I mean,
yeah, there's a very lovely intonation to your voice that has that lilting country sound that sounds effortless, but I know it can't be effortless.
Oh, it sounds so authentic. Yeah.
My first time I remember actually singing for a crowd was in 8th grade for a talent show. And we did a cover of ZZ Top's "Sharp Dressed Man." And I don't think it went all that smoothly, but that was years ago. And then just kind of as the years have progressed, like I kind of touched on, my friends are in bands, and I've always had that passion for country music. And sometimes they let me come up and sing, or we'd just be sitting around the campfire, just picking different songs, and I would just start singing along. And it was several of my friends that really encouraged me. They said, there's something here. Like I had said, I've at this stage, I haven't really had intensive vocal training or anything like that. And so they kind of had said, why don't you kind of look into this and kind of pursue that? And I was blessed enough to have this kind of network of great musicians that are local to me. That's really kind of gave me my starting point.
And you saw Hank Williams Jr. live in 2018. I was looking at his tour and I didn't see any Canadian dates on there. Where did you see him?
So that's actually kind of a funny story. I've only left Canada one time, and that was the only time. I've never been on a plane or anything like that. And I convinced my parents to take me down to Kentucky and see that it was Hank Williams Jr., 38 Special, and Lynyrd Skynyrd.
Oh,
And
wow. What a lineup.
Yeah. It was quite a rowdy show. And that was in the summer of 2018. And that's something I'll never forget. It was a great show.
How did you convince your parents to do this?
I think they were getting tired of, because every time I listened to Hank Williams Jr., the rest of the house would be listening to Hank Williams Jr. And I think they were kind of tired of that music getting cranked around. It still happens now, but I just kept saying, hey, it'd be kind of cool to go down to Kentucky. And my dad was kind of a Skynyrd fan back in the day, so he kind of enjoyed himself too.
Hey, tell us about your guitar player.
Yeah, so that's Johnny Lantine. I've known him for years and years. He lives very close to me. We've gone to elementary school together, high school together, and he's in a local band by the name of the Four Corners Band, and they do mostly classic rock. And he was one of the people I kind of mentioned that really kind of pushed me. He said, this is something that's that might turn into something. So he said, you should kind of pursue this. So I kind of have to credit that to him a little bit, but he's a very talented drummer. That's his thing. Amazing drummer. He does all kinds of classic rock. He can do blues, country, everything. And he's a big Blue Rodeo fan. He's obsessed with Blue Rodeo. So he draws a lot of inspiration from that. But he plays in that local band, and he's a great drummer, and he's played for other people. He was very active at our high school in the music department. And a lot of the stuff I know he's credited me with, he's kind of taught me. And actually my producer now, Matt Cable, he put me into contact with him. They were close friends. So he's really helped me along the way.
Hey, play us another song, will you?
This song we're doing here is Home. This is my second song. It came out in August of this past year in 2020. And it's just kind of a fun song about what home means to me, and just kind of having a good time and really valuing family, friends, and people you love.
I can't take another lonely night. Days just blur together now with no inside. No way I feel for you, it'll be alright. You fill my dark days with your light. You say at home is where the heart is. Yeah, I've heard it all before. That could be your old man's farmer underneath the sycamore. Could be running through a field at night, looking up at the moon. No matter where my house is, feel at home when I'm with you. Sitting by the phone waiting for your call. 'Cause without you this house I'm in is not a home at all. When you're around you numb all the pain. Bring out all the sunshine after long days of rain. Home is where the heart is. Yeah, I've heard it all before. That could be your old man's farmer underneath the sycamore. Could be running through a field at night, looking up at the moon. Yeah, no matter where my house is, feel at home when I'm with you. Hometown high school football game, good old duck with a dog-eared page. Everything I want a girl to be. Like a Waylon tune stuck on my mind. Summer night sipping strawberry wine, down by the river with you laying next to me. Say that home is where the heart is. I've heard it all before. That could be your old man's farm underneath the sycamore. Could be running through a field at night, looking up at the moon. Yeah, no matter where my house is, feel at home when I'm with you.
it's making me wonder, we've all been home for this past year. As a musician, we've been hearing all kinds of stories about how people have been trying to survive during this time. But what have you been up to try and keep your music going and keep getting out there?
Yeah, I mean, especially in these times, you can't play live. It's incredibly hard to stay relevant. And for somebody like me that's kind of up and coming, you kind of want to get your foot in the door. So kind of what I've been doing is trying to market myself and my music to radio stations and any platform I can really, or any platform that will really accept my music. I won the Fresh Picks 93 for Country 93, kind of up in the Great Bruce area. So I got some music on several of the sister stations up there. So that was great, great exposure. And just submitting my music to playlists and kind of getting it in where we can. And about 2 weeks ago, we went on a little trip up north to a little cabin, and we followed COVID protocols and everything. And we filmed several acoustic songs, some covers, some of my own music. And I'm going to slowly start releasing those on social media. And we're calling that the cabin sessions. So that'll be available on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
And I remember a couple summers ago walking on like this trail in St. Jacobs, and like there's a little poster that of Nick Bordman on like a post in a trail in a forest. Like, talk about grassroots trying to get your name out there.
Yeah, we went old school marketing way. We printed out a lot of flyers and taped them up wherever, and most were ripped down within 24 hours. But we just kind of kept that up. So,
Nick, how are you writing these songs? Are you and Johnny sitting down and just?
Yeah, what's that process like when you're writing?
Writing for me, it's I don't always really follow like a strict rule or anything like that. Often what I'll do is kind of an idea will come into my head, or a line sometimes, and I'll jot that line down. And sometimes it can be a month before I'll go back to that line because I haven't really come up with a concept that'll kind of fit around that line. But primarily most of my writing gets done. I like to write outside. I'm a big outdoorsman. I like writing out in the forest, out by ponds and stuff like that. And that's just kind of away from everything. It's quiet. And I have a little notepad, and I'll bring that with me, and I'll just start writing. Typically, I almost just write poetry, and then or just kind of lines that I think work. And then for the most part, I'll go to my producer, Matt Cable, and he'll kind of help me tweak that. And he'll say, how about this melody here? And how about these chords and everything like that? And then the song kind of comes to fruition. But for the most part, yeah, the writing's done very simplistically, kind of old school way on pen and paper. And then if it's something that I think is going to be something that's going to work, I'll put it on the laptop and kind of save it for later.
So Nick, I understand the concept of you growing up in a home and there being Leonard Skinner records or Hank Williams records around. But how does Blue Rodeo come on your radar? Like with Johnny and that, like, I mean, where's somebody in your age? Where are you hearing Blue Rodeo?
So primarily, I would say Johnny really introduced me to Blue Rodeo. And several of my friends locally are just absolutely obsessed with Blue Rodeo. A friend of mine got tickets to them at the Center in the Square a couple of years back, and I was lucky enough to be able to see them live.
Was that when the Sadies opened? I was there for that one. Was that it?
Yes, it was.
Was like, yeah. I was up in the mezzanine. It was a great show. Good time.
Yeah. And he got some free tickets somehow or something like that, so I couldn't complain about that. And it was a great show. And their music is just, I think that's something I really admire about musicians, across the whole board, is the ability to be diverse and not sticking maybe to one specific lane. If you're a country musician, you're doing Southern rock, maybe you're touching blues, you're touching bluegrass, everything, you're kind of bouncing around. And Blue Rodeos, I really admire them for that. They kind of experiment with different styles and sounds, and it's just such an experience really to listen to their music. And and they're, especially being Canadian, that's something to be very proud of.
Definitely a treasure for us. What's your favorite Blue Rodeo song?
Oh,
it's tough, right?
It is tough. I probably have to say Lost Together, just because that's one of Johnny's favorite songs, and that's one that's always coming up, and we're always talking about that, or that comes on in the car. So it's just kind of a classic one for us.
If we weren't in a pandemic, what kind of venues would you imagine you'd be playing in? Like, what kind of places would you like to be playing?
What we're trying to do, or what we were trying to do prior to the pandemic, was bars. Kind of get into the bar scene a little bit. There's kind of like a small circuit around, especially Southern Ontario, of lots of bars that are great for live music, and especially in the region here. We were able to play a couple small places prior to the pandemic, but we didn't really get to play to the full extent. And just really getting kind of into the scene, getting my name out there a little bit. I'm very, very fresh at this right now, but yeah, I'm very excited. I'm hoping, who knows when the pandemic will be over, but we're hoping to be getting right in there right when we're able to.
Marshall and I have this dream that once this is all over, we're going to invite all the musicians that we've had on for like a Bonn Park concert series. You know, something live that would be really fun. So we have this dream about that. So
Yeah.
we'll keep you in the list.
Hopefully you'll be on the poster.
Yeah.
Perfect.
On the poster.
Perfect.
Have you considered anything like, I know you're going to do these cabin sessions, which I think is genius. I mean, if Taylor Swift can do it, it's released on Disney, you can do it. Have you considered any streaming, selling tickets to something online, or are you just kind of trying to get your voice out there as much as possible, without a ticket paywall on there?
Yeah, at the moment, we're kind of I'm trying to do everything in my power to keep this going and put content out without asking for anything in return.
Mm-hmm.
We're thinking of doing like a live stream with kind of like a donation bin, or tip jar, or whatever you want to call it.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, just to kind of, keep the music out there, get my name out there, and just, hey, we're still here kind of thing. And like we touched on before, I've been doing Tuesday Live with Rob Witherspoon. And that's such a great platform and a great time always to watch that show. And just doing stuff like that, just trying to get in wherever I can. I've been working on some stuff with some other musicians, trying to get some content out in the near future. So just kind of spreading myself as far as I can.
Nick, before we started recording, I made a connection between Hee Haw and Tuesday Live, and we couldn't believe that you knew what Hee Haw was. How do you know what Hee Haw is?
That was old when we were kids.
Yeah.
I came across Hee Haw, I think, kind of right when I got into country music. And if there was a certain musician that I really liked, I would go to YouTube and look up so-and-so Hee Haw and watch the episode. And it's like if you haven't seen it, like you have to go see it. There's nothing else that I can think of that's really like that. And
the jokes are super cornball, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm fairly certain from what I can remember, a lot of it won't age well either.
Right.
Yeah. From an appropriate level. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think it would do too well in 2021.
No. But it's there and it was a thing. We have to honor it and move on.
Nick, did you feel like a bit of an outsider in high school? Like, I mean, you like old country and outlaw country. Like, did you have many friends who shared that love for that music? It's
funny how it's really progressed because up until high school, I really never had much of an interest in music at all. I would listen to country music here and there, but then really when high school came in, I fell in love with it. And that's what would always be playing. I used to have an old van and I didn't have the aux cord or the Bluetooth or anything like that. So I had to use CDs. So we'd always go around, find CDs, and it was always the old country, traditional country, or Southern rock, outlaw country. And at first there were some complaints about it being on all the time and people didn't really understand, I think, the topics or the style. And then eventually, just as I've just kept doing it, I would say my core group of friends, they love it now. I'll be in their vehicle and all of a sudden, a George Jones song will come on, or you'll be around a fire at somebody's house and Waylon Jennings comes on, or somebody sends you a text, hey, can you send me that Johnny Cash song? And it's just kind of interesting to see how that's impacted people around me. I mean, again, it's not for everybody, but yeah, a lot of people around me are really into it now. Even I caught my mom the other day listening to Hank Williams Jr.
She's hooked. It's not for everybody, that's for sure. But, I do get frustrated when people will just flat out say, of any age, will just flat out say, I hate country. And I think that's just an ism. You haven't given it a chance. There's such a vast array of what country music can be and what it can mean and what it can sound like over decades and decades of time. There's no way you can say you just hate country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, play another song for us.
Sure.
He will now teleport to the Johnny room.
I remember the first time Sylvia heard Johnny Cash, she was like, "Oh, that's awful, right?"
Oh, it's not.
But then she over time she gets to know it and really get it.
So it depends on the song.
But the one that Sylvia and the girls cannot get their head around is when I put on Stompin' Tom. I am the wind.
They don't. Well, I am the wind is not my favorite of all the Tom Who Stomps songs.
Ketchup loves potatoes. They can't stand.
That's called the ketchup song.
Yeah,
was a guy from PI they used to call potato.
Yeah.
That's a great song.
Yeah, I can't believe that everything I ever mentioned music wise, what Like
you lose me sometimes in 80s like softer stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You squeeze is about where I tap out.
Yeah.
That sounded dirty, but it wasn't. Sorry.
So we're thinking we'll do a kind of like a classic early Hank Jr. song. One of my favorite songs. And we recently did it in the cabin sessions. And it's called Feeling Better. And it's just kind of telling of his story. And I think it's relatable to a lot of people, especially right now. So yeah, we'll do Feeling Better by Hank Williams Jr. for you.
Moved on down to Sweet Home Alabama about 1974. Had to get out of the music city and I had to get off the road. Woman, she left and the people wouldn't let me sing nothing but the old sad songs. Had to get high so I wouldn't cry. It's hitting pretty close to home. I'm feeling better now that I'm back on the road, getting it together between making and muscle shows. I started turning up loud and looking at the crowd while I'm bending them guitar strings. Knew all the while that was my style. Could you ever forget my name? Rocked them and rolling, knocked them out of Knoxville. Just couldn't do no wrong. People went wild and the band said, child, gotta keep on singing your song. I'm feeling better now that I'm back on the road, getting it together between making and muscle shows. Well, my life ain't the same and I had to change. I hope my music will show a little bit less of crying in the beer and a bit of my own soul. Waylon and Toy and all them boys, I'm gonna say thanks to you. Feeling you still got me playing what I feel, but I don't feel lovesick blue. I'm feeling better now that I'm back on the road, getting it together between making and muscle shows. All come together in my sweet Alabama home, and I'm through forever of trying to put anybody on. I'm feeling better now that I'm back on the road, getting it together, and I eat a little cornbread. Eating that cornbread, loving on the feather bed, drinking that homegrown, writing a new song, do it on. Eating that cornbread, love you on the feather bed, drinking that homegrown, writing a new song. This your music's homegrown. I'm feeling better now that I'm back on the road, getting it together between making and the muscle shows. All come together in my sweet Alabama home, and I'm through forever trying to put anybody on.
What do you hear in Johnny's guitar playing that lends itself so well to your singing? How are you two figuring out how to work together like that?
I think, like I had touched on before, he is a drummer kind of by trade. But just through stuff we've done in different little shows here and there, he's lended his guitar skills many times. And I think even over the times we've just done it, I've seen such a drastic improvement. He's always been good, but it's just always kind of progressed. And I think the way he kind of plays is kind of that almost like that honky tonk style kind of, we always say like we're picking and grinning kind of thing, and we're just kind of having fun with it. And I think me and him just being such close friends as well, that chemistry kind of comes through, and we're able to, you know, get through those songs, or maybe if we don't like the way a certain song is, we've changed them around before and just kind of had our own little fun way with them. So yeah, I think just kind of our connection and just kind of his years of musical skills that kind of just came together.
He's got some great range. I love when he's hitting those high notes when you guys are harmonizing together. That's such a feel-good feeling, isn't it?
Oh yeah,
When it clicks,
we love doing that.
My favorite band is Black Sabbath. So I was born in 1971, and Sabbath with Ozzy Osbourne were done by 1978. So it was an odd thing to be a fan of a band that I never got to hear the first time, like on the radio or live. But the music you so much enjoy and love and that inspires you, it goes back way further. Like I know you saw Leonard Skinner, but that's not even the same Leonard Skinner from the 70s, right? Some of those members died in a plane crash. And what does that passage of time feel like to you? Like it must feel like something much bigger than what Black Sabbath felt like to me. Like this, when you watch performances by Merle Haggard from like the 60s, you must be like, holy smokes, that was a long, long time ago.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's part of the appeal and kind of the magic to me almost, is that it's such this different time, like something that obviously I've never experienced, I'll never get to experience, but through those videos you kind of get a taste of maybe what it was like back then. And especially somebody like you'd mentioned, Merle Haggard, just the way that his stories come right through his voice and the way it comes out and how he articulates everything. It's just, it's astonishing. And it's so memorable. And like that old George Jones song, they say, who's going to fill their shoes? Because some of these people are just irreplaceable and there will never be anybody like them. And it's especially just these old classic names like Johnny Cash, Live at Folsom Prison, stuff like that it's timeless. It can never be recreated. And it's just, they were pioneers back then. And I think that's why they've stood the test of time. And even to this day, I know of many musicians that cover these giants and these legends or quote them or reference them throughout all their music. And I think that that's really telling of how powerful they really were.
And there's these old songs, these old performances that you're talking about. They're just so simple and so pure, right? There's no gimmick. There's no wild ambient sound in the recordings, right? They're just so simple and raw. That's part of what makes them so beautiful. It's great that we have those, really.
Yeah, and there's something. There was this thing a while ago where there would be these commercials where you could buy like the best of country music, and you'd hear like a snippet of a George Jones song.
Oh, geez, those are old
snippet of Loretta Lynn, and it would go on like that. And there's
the CCR one sticks in my mind. That was on for like ever. I see.
Yeah, these little snippets, but there's something so cohesive about that sound.
Yeah.
Is that what Sarah was describing? Is that what you feel like you hear too? Some kind of purity, something not simplistic, but simple in that kind of songwriting and performing, Nick?
Yeah, definitely. I think even now, kind of where we are just in music as a whole, I think we've not, obviously artists they're so diverse, people are doing different things, but I think sometimes in the industry part of it and the kind of public appeal, we kind of lose what we're really doing. And when you go back, especially I think that's why I kind of connect with country music, that simplicity, especially back in the day, it's just so raw. And I think they're talking about these concepts that people don't maybe want to hear, but the way they convey it in the song kind of hits home with everybody. And like somebody like Hank Williams, he's singing about the lovesick blues and your cheating heart and so lonesome he could cry. And, that's stuff that nobody wants to sit around and dwell on. But the way it kind of comes through with him and his guitar and his band, it's just in such a simple manner. I think that's kind of how it connected to people. And it still continues to connect to people.
And the outlaw country music that you love too, I guess, stories of fugitives and just a lot of men, I guess, for the most part, being down on their luck or on the run. Those stories speak to you as well?
Yeah, I mean, I've had people say to me, how do you listen to that stuff? It's all this rough living and drugs and alcohol and we're living in 2020. You don't know anything about that kind of stuff, or 2021, sorry. And I think that's part of the appeal to me as well, is like you hear these stories of
storytelling. Yeah,
exactly. The storytelling that comes alongside the music. Because to me, a good song is almost a story. It's a sentiment of what's going on. And especially people like Merle Haggard singing the working man blues, stuff like that, people could relate to. And I think they still do now. It's just all these tales of things that were going on that it would just never happen now. And I think that's something that's going to preserve the authenticity of those songs.
Because the themes don't change, like all of those themes still hold up now. This work is still hard. Relationships are still difficult. Sometimes your dog dies. All those beautiful things that are in country music, they don't change. Those are stories that last forever.
Yeah. And I think a lot of the topics that are covered as well it's just stuff everyday people encounter. throughout their lives, and it's part of being a person, and it's throughout the years. I mean, lifestyle changes, different things change, but I think throughout that, these are kind of like the deep down human emotions that everybody feels, or experiences that we just part of the human experience, and I think that's why it's so relatable.
Do you ever feel out of place here in this time? I've always loved the song "I Just Wasn't Made for These Times" by the Beach Boys, and I've often felt that way myself. But do you feel a little bit kind of like here you are in 2021 in Waterloo, and does it make sense that you're here where you're at, or do you feel a little bit like you're almost from another era yourself, or should be somewhere else?
Yeah, well, it's funny you say that. I thought about that and had that conversation a few times. Definitely, like I think, like I was saying, I connect with a lot of the music from the past, and a lot of I'm a big fan of classic movies and things like that. Anything from 70s, 80s, that kind of stuff. I love that stuff. And so yeah, I think it's almost that kind of that appeal to me is because maybe it's from the past, and you hear everybody talking, oh, this movie or this song's a classic, and then you go to check it out and you go, I can see why this has stood the test of time. And yeah, I think sometimes it is kind of like that saying, like you feel like you're born in the wrong generation or the wrong time kind of thing. And yeah, because sometimes people say to me, how can you listen to country music? You're born and bred in Waterloo, and you know, how can you compare to these kind of guys? But I think at the end of the day is just talk about your kind of like your experiences and what you're feeling. And I think that's kind of the heart of country music.
I don't think it's that out of touch. You know, we are in the country. Our little city is sitting here right in the middle of farmland. You know, you're still on the cusp there.
Yeah, and I mean it's in my my heritage as well. Some of my family are from St. Clement's Way, and we even have property out in the country right now where we do some stuff. We have some livestock and stuff like that. So it's just something that's always kind of been a part of my life.
So what records were some of the first records you saw around? I guess they were your dad's records, were they?
My dad didn't actually have that many records himself, but he was kind of, actually, it's funny. I got Spotify Premium a few years back, and they have that algorithm where if you listen to this artist, they recommend this artist. And so I think I was listening to George Strait or something like that, and a Hank Jr. song came on. And at the time I had no idea who Hank Jr. was. And my dad came downstairs and he said, oh, that's Hank Williams Jr. He used to do the Monday Night Football theme.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
Are you ready for some football?
Yeah, exactly.
It's a Monday night party.
Yeah.
Sorry, I've heard this a lot. I don't watch football, but my husband's very into it.
And then my dad goes, yeah, your uncle used to love him, and we used to listen to Skynyrd. And it was just, you get into these stories about, you know, we used to collect these Skynyrd vinyls, or we would listen to this song. And it's just so interesting, especially when we had gone to that concert. One of the bands was 38 Special. And my dad is a pretty big 38 Special fan. So it was kind of interesting to see when they came out, he knew all the songs and everything going on. So kind of carrying that magic over from like a different time period. It was kind of cool to see.
What catches your ear on, like, let's say pop radio today? Like for me, Sarah knows way more about popular music today, but I can hear a song like Save Your Tears by The Weeknd, and I recognize that's a really strong song. Is there contemporary music that you hear today that you think, wow, that's pretty great?
It's kind of hard. I listen to, like, I'd say like 99% country in some form, depending upon what subgenre it's going to fall under. But I like somebody like Taylor Swift is kind of somebody that's touching all these different avenues and going all these different lanes. And I think that's pretty respectable. And yeah, like when her music comes on, a few of those songs, you can tell the power behind them. And that's why they're so popular. I see on social media, they're everywhere, like TikTok and something like that. And it makes you think, like, why is this song having such an impact? I know some songs are people kind of just like the melody or the rhythm or whatever it might be. But some of those, for me, like I had said, if there's like a story being told, usually I can get into it. And depending upon how it's written or how it's being conveyed, I think that kind of makes or breaks it.
Yeah, good time for a song.
Yeah, play one more song for us here. Actually, I have a request for you as well, if it isn't the song you're going to play. But I was going to ask you for a family tradition.
Sure, we can do that one. That's one of our favorites.
Hi, Johnny.
Hi, nice to meet you guys. Oh, wait, no. We already did.
So we will be doing, by request, Family Tradition by Hank Williams Jr. It's, I would say, probably my favorite song, or one of my top three at least. And it's just a good, feel-good song.
Country music singers have always been a close family. lately some of my kinfolk have disowned a few others of me. I guess it's because I kind of changed my direction. Lord, I guess I went and broke the family tradition. Don't tell me, hey, why do you drink? Hey, why do you roll smoke? Why must you live out the songs that you wrote? Over and over, everybody made my prediction. If I get stoned and sing all night long, it's a family tradition. I am very proud of my daddy's name, although his kind of music mine ain't exactly the same. Stop and think it over, put yourself in my position. If I get stoned and sing all night long, it's a family tradition. Don't tell me now, why do you drink? Why do you roll smoke? Why must you live out the songs that you wrote? If I'm down in a honky-tonk, some slick tries to give me friction. Boss, leave me alone, I'm going all night long. That's a family tradition. I have loved some ladies, I have loved Jim Beam. They both tried to kill me in 1973. When my doctor asked me, son, how'd you get in this condition? I said, it's our bones, I'm just carrying on an old family tradition. Don't tell me now, why do you drink? And why do you roll smoke? Why must you live out the songs that you wrote? Stop and you think it over, put yourself in my position. If I get stoned and sing all night long, it's a family tradition.
Okay, thanks a lot, Nick. That was awesome. You played Family Tradition for us. Thank you.
Yeah, great. We always have fun playing that one. I love that song.
Hey, Nick, when you finally can get out and play, like, a full, hour and a half long show somewhere or something, how do you imagine putting that set list together? What do you think you're going to do with that?
Oh, we've made some drafts up of just some small shows we've done, but I think it would be very diverse. Definitely some Cash, kind of that old Haggard stuff like that. Some Hank Jr. And then I think we'd even trickle into some of the classic Southern rock, Marshall Tucker Band, Charlie Daniels, Leonard Skinner, all the kind of stuff like that. Especially Marshall Tucker Band. They have some absolutely beautiful songs, and we've kind of toyed around with them a little bit live, and they're very fun. And I think it would even range to some bluegrass music, and then I think to put a little bit of a modern twist on it, do some modern musicians that I really admire. Tyler Childers is doing some great things right now. Sturgill Simpson, two big names right now that are blowing it out of the water. They make some amazing music right now. And Charlie Crockett, things like that, kind of some Delta blues almost. And I think it'd be all over the place. Country, rock, blues, you name it.
I'm putting in an extra question. Have you toyed around at all with sort of quote unquote popular music and countryizing it? Like, I'm thinking right now of a great version of 99 Problems by Jay-Z, which is a country version. I can't think of the band that does it right now, but some of those can be really beautifully done as well. Have you tried any of that stuff?
We haven't done it live, but kind of when we're sitting around, just fooling around, we'll have even in the car, something will come on the radio and we'll go, this is how we should do it. And we'll kind of do a rendition of it. But we thought about putting some videos out on YouTube of kind of similar stylings like that. So that's probably something that's coming up.
You should definitely put some of that to tape.
Were you thinking like Anaconda by Nicki Minaj?
It would be a fantastic country. Like, can you visualize it?
Yeah.
It'd be fantastic. I'd love it. I'd try it, but I think I'd mess it up. So Nick, you're working on some new music now. Tell us about that and about sort of where you hope it's going.
Yeah, so we've been working on an EP now for the past few months, and we're hoping to have the actual EP out by June. And we're going to put a lead single out from that EP probably end of April, early May. And so we've been writing away, cutting music, and it's coming together quite nicely. We're kind of going in the direction of almost like a concept album. There'll be like an intro almost of me just speaking, and then the songs will kind of progress and kind of I don't want to give too much away, but it kind of follows the feelings. Kind of, it starts in one place and it ends up in a different place, and you kind of go through a little bit of a musical journey. And there's several different styles of kind of that country sound on there. We kind of have some almost like a bluegrass sound on one of them, a southern rock kind of Skinner inspired song, and everything in between, traditional country and just kind of that, try to reinforce that outlaw sound with a little bit of a modern twist on it.
Okay, take us out with one more song, will you? Hey, Johnny, before you're going to play one more song. Hey, thanks for contributing to the show.
No problem.
Hugely here. And thanks, guys.
Yeah, happy to support this upcoming star here, and happy to be on your guys' show here.
So we're going to do a cover here of The Storm by Sturgill Simpson. He's cut it twice now, and originally as like a traditional country song, and then recently he put an album out called Cutting Grass, and it's kind of like a bluegrass rendition of the song.
Please don't say, be lazy man, cause I've been sitting around all day with the blues. I know how love but don't misunderstand, just as I can tell songs about to grow. Cause there's thunder inside of my mind, and there's lightning behind the cloud, and there's a lonely wind that's dying down. Don't let it fool you, slow me down. The water's rolling and my heart's going down. The mountains welcome like a flower, ain't got no sign. Well, that thunder in my head might go away, if everything will flow back to the sea. Yeah, well, I'll come back while I stand and bring a stop to the rain and happiness to me. Yeah, well, I'll come back, be so grateful, and my storm could be over. The world wouldn't seem so mean and hateful, and I'll lay there, I'm better live below her. And there's a falling wind that's dying down. Don't let it fool you, slow me down. The water's rolling and my heart's gonna drown, and mountains melting like a flower, ain't got no sign. And there's a falling wind that's dying down. Don't let it fool you, slow me down. The water's rolling and my heart's gonna drown, and mountains melting like a flower, ain't got no sign.
That's The Storm.
Hey all, thanks for meeting us in Bonn Park. Please like, rate, and subscribe to our podcast on the platform that you're listening to. And follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Bonn Park Podcast. Original music by Alan Lung.